Hey guys, Peter here to do an album review. Today I'm here to tell you all about the latest from Onslaught, Generation Antichrist, out August 7th on AFM Records. This album has 9 tracks, 38 minutes in length, and this is the band's 7th full-length studio album. This is one uncompromising thrash metal album from the first second to the last, and it all starts with a very cohesive and linear album structure that provides consistency across all 9 songs. The record is built in a way that there is no peaks and no valleys. It is just a straight line from the first track to the last track. It stays consistent across every single song from not only a structural perspective but also from a sound perspective. This gives the album this robust approach that doesn't give it any break whatsoever to the listener. There is no chance of you getting off this train. Once you're on it, and you're on it for the duration of the ride. The overall album structure permeates to the individual song structures, and the two are interconnected in how they're put together and how they feel and how they give the dynamic mechanisms to this record. Then those two elements provide the consistency necessary to the sound, because the sound is the next element that comes in. Really heavy riffs, really heavy drums, really pairing extremely well together to give this large sound, to give this powerful, heavy, aggressive sound on every single track. Having said that, with all of these elements being very similar from a structural to sound on every single song, there's perhaps this idea that the album starts to sound repetitive, that you may change the lyrics, you may change the placement of the solo, but everything else stays the same. It's not the case with this record. While the elements are there on every single track, the way they're blend in, the way they're mixed, the way that then they're displayed to the listener on the songs is different on a track-by-track basis. The overall soundscape stays the same, which is one of a throwback thrash metal record. That doesn't change. The whole album has that aroma, has that feel, but the songs themselves are very different and they have a very unique DNA on a case by case. So this is an album that is not repetitive at all, but it is very consistent across all different parameters. Mixed into all of this, then you have the lyrics. The lyrics on this record fit in like a glove. They have a modern touch. They definitely talk about topics that are in fashion right now. So anything from religion to politics is mentioned on the lyrics of this record. And to me, that fits perfectly with the sound, with the overall approach, and that throwback thrash metal feel that this record has. As far as vocals are concerned, another element that stays true through every single song. You don't get a different delivery on one track versus another. You don't get a different approach here versus there. For the vocalist Dave Garnett, this is his first album with the band. He stayed true and consistent as well from the first to the last song, really keeping everything together, not breaking apart from any of the other elements that were down that linear path. The vocals also stayed down that linear path. Perhaps the only element that changes as far as the vocals are concerned is the way that they used backing vocals. They tried different things, they did different things throughout the record, but always with the idea of creating a different texture, to creating a different atmosphere to the track. Sometimes giving the track a little bit more of a hardcore vibe, sometimes giving it a feel more of a live song, really creating that live essence by having backing vocals behind the main vocal track. I like all of those nuances, I like all of those ideas. It allows each song to remain fresh, to remain new, to remain different, while still using the same approach on every single song. It's really creative, and it's really interesting, and it doesn't take anything away from what this whole album is about. Overall, this is an old school thrash metal album with modern production values infused in it. That is the best way to describe this record. And I'm going to go on the record and I'm going to say that this is going to be one of my top 5 thrash metal albums of 2020. I absolutely love this record. I felt like I was listening to something that came out in the early 90s, but it still sounded modern, it still sounded fresh. The lyrics also sounded fresh because they're modern as well. So it has a foot in the past while still taking steps towards the future. That is how this album is put together, and to me that's exactly what I want out of a thrash metal album, to have that sense of taking me back in time to the glory days of the genre, if you will, to that early 90s era of thrash metal, but still sounding modern, still sounding fresh, still starting revived, if you will. So this album is just magnificent from that perspective. Really consistent, really well put together, really well worked, with all the right elements, with all the right parts coming in, and really delivering a solid album from the first to the last track. No skippable songs. A really incredible album all around. I was really impressed with this record, and for an album that has Dave Garnett, like I said, first time vocalist with the band for this record, really impressive outcome. It's normally it's always difficult to change your vocalist when you're coming into an album. There's always a lot of question marks surrounding that release, but to me, if there was any questions or any doubts, once you listen to this record, all of those will dissipate, because this is just one of those incredible thrash metal albums that will stay within your playlist. And like I said, for me, it's perhaps one of the top 5 thrash metal albums of 2020. As far as songs are concerned, I want to start off with Bow Down to the Clowns. Powerful drums, heavy guitars, fast-moving, aggressive, and really powerful in the verses. The choruses really give this song a different dimension. The backing vocals add almost a little bit of a hardcore feel and definitely add a live vibe to the way this song is played. It really feels like this is a track that in a live setting is going to work extremely well, specifically because of how those backing vocals were introduced into the chorus of this song. It really creates a merger of worlds, if you will. It really blends in a little bit of hardcore with thrash metal. The two sides of the history of this band are coming together in this track. The solos add melody, but they don't remove any power away from the song. And the song finishes off with this music box melody that works itself. It may sound a little bit weird, why is that at the end of the track, but to me it fits perfectly with not only the atmosphere of the track, the mood, but definitely with the lyrics on this song. Next, All Seeing Eye, great riff. It just sets you off from the get-go. This is a song that the moment it starts, you know you're in for an absolute banger of a track. Once the vocals come in, they merge in perfectly with everything else, with the drums, with the guitars, and it creates really this large wall of sound that it's coming at you. The verses just have so much strength, and you feel that strength as it's moving. The chorus does not change the soundscape of the track. It just changes how it's delivered. So this is a song that stays really linear, really consistent across all elements, and there are some dips here and there, but they're so minor that they never really change where you're going as far as the song is concerned. Using backing vocals behind the main vocals on this song added a different idea. It added a different mechanism, and definitely added a different delivery. It created a little bit more heaviness. It took away that style of feeling like it's a live song, and instead of that, it gave more presence. It just made the vocals seem a lot heavier, a lot bigger, a lot more powerful. And I like that for a song that has this kind of power, that's not really fast moving, but it has a lot of heaviness built into it. The guitar solo is of the face melting quality. One of my favorites on the album. This song just absolutely destroys everything, specifically once that solo comes in. Closing the track with the chorus and then putting in a solo underneath the chorus was very old school, and I really like that approach. They do a lot of that throughout the record. That's why I said this album is really an old school album as far as the construction of the tracks, structure, and sound. This song is a perfect example of that, of how it ends with that guitar solo almost hiding underneath of the chorus as the track moves in towards the end. An absolute thrash metal banger of a song. Last but not least, Empire's Fall. The drums and guitars as the song opens, they're absolutely brutal. They have so much power, they have so much strength built into it, and they're taking turns. The guitars come in, the drums go out, the guitars go out, the drums come in. I like that dynamic approach that the song has, creating heaviness but still creating a great fluidity, a great way of progressing throughout the track. And then you get a guitar solo right at the top of the song, also something that you normally got. And back in the day, in more old school bands, you would do that. You don't see this done as often now, but I really like that feel. If you're going to create an album that has this old school aspect to it, you have to stay true to it. This song is another example of that, by almost opening the track with the guitar solo. Then the song becomes heavier, all the elements start to come in, they start to blend in. The chorus slows the track a little bit, but while it slows it as far as the tempo is concerned, it definitely increases the heaviness that it has. So there's a little bit of a trade-off here. You lose a little bit of one, you gain a little bit of the other. And I like that dynamic, I like that aspect. It really plays in well to the way the song started off. Another track that uses backing vocals, and in my opinion, they use it in perfection. They always know exactly when to put them, when you want to add that live vibe, or when you want to add a little bit more volume, a little bit more texture in the way the vocals are coming across. And this song, it added a little bit more substance. It had definitely added a little bit more texture to the overall vocals on the track. The solo comes in and it really pulls out of the two elements that this song has. It pulls in a little bit of the darkness that it feels. There's a little bit of a dark atmosphere to this song, so the solo really captures that essence, but at the same time it also captures the melody that the track has. For as heavy as it is, this is still a very melodic track, so it really captures those two essences, and then it delivers a really magnificent solo. As it transitions to the closing, the song feels, after that long extended solo, the song feels like it starts to get heavier and heavier as it progresses, as it's closing, which is really interesting because normally you feel like the song starts to lose perhaps a little bit of steam, starts to fade away. This is a song that goes the other direction. It just feels like it's gaining momentum as it's moving towards its end. I love how this track is pulled together. I love the nuances that it has, some old school elements, some more new school stuff, but the way it's put together is done in a perfect way that allows the track to stay really balanced across all different elements and never lose focus of where it was, where it is, and where it needs to go. This is it, guys. This is Onslaught with Generation Antichrist, once again out August 7th on AFM Records. Let me know your thoughts on the band, on the singles. Use the comment section below. I'll be reading those and getting back to you. Take care, guys.